Okay, so Mataji, maybe we can start by you just telling a little bit about your life and how you came to meet Baba.
It was already 40 years ago. I came to Haridwar, like everybody, on the search for truth. So I was lucky, and like a miracle. In India, still miracles are quite possible. So I had not to search too long. Right, coming to India, and then next 10 days I came to Benares. From there I had a vision of Lord Shiva, so he gave me the mantra. And from this I changed my life. And I had only to wander around 1 year more in India, holy places, going to Buddhism, Christianity, Nepal, Amarnath, Kashmir, and then I finally arrived in Haridwar to find my guru, Sri Santosh, who was waiting for me at the bank of the Ganga on a little island by the fire. And as soon as he saw me coming over the bridge, he said, "There she is, who I've seen a year ago." So now finally she arrived, and I came to his fireplace, and for 40 years I didn't go away. And from this 10 years we could stay on the island with a lot of austerity, a lot of difficulties, beautiful difficulties, a lot of purification that always took my life. And then after 10 years, with the grace of the Ganga, we could establish a place also along the Ganga, but more in the north, another one, place of Rishi. And so we could set up a little ashram place, which is now for 30 years we are residing there. So since 40 years I didn't leave Haridwar. We are found, and we don't have to search anymore.
And I know, I remember it wasn't, at first even your guru really tried to test your perseverance with even staying near him, yeah? I remember you told me a little bit about that when I last saw you so many years ago. You went through a lot of hard tests, yeah?
Yeah, it was this beautiful grace that I could stay really this 30 years. I mean, 10 years have passed since his Samadhi. So 30 years I was in the complete physical presence. So I didn't leave and go anywhere. And we also didn't go anywhere. I mean, sometimes to the mountain or to the Kumbh Mela. But otherwise it was a service from my side. It was possible to really stay 24 hours in his service. So it was really becoming, the Guru is a manifestation of the divine on earth. So the teaching was to live 24 hours in God consciousness. So first in the presence of the Guru, and afterwards now since 10 years in his spiritual presence.
Is it common that when one meets the Guru that it's not always, that there are always some tests, some obstacles that will come to test the disciples' conviction and shraddha towards one's Guru? Is that your experience?
Testing?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah, surely the tests will go on, but actually if this unexpected happens, that there is no question if it is your Guru or it is not your Guru. And no test is just a formality, it cannot do anything. I mean, if it is once settled, or here you would say you find your fora samskaras from former lives, and there is no question about is it the right Guru or should I go to another place or something. Surely there were many tests because I almost had to die and to give my body up and everything would bind me to the world. But at the same time I got the strength, I would say the strength of right understanding, what we say is the grace of the Ganga or the grace of the Guru already, that I could overcome all these tests because I think if faith becomes not only a belief but a reality, then nothing can stop you on this path.
How old did you say you were when you first came? 24. And What made you decide to come to India?
So this eternal call in everybody, maybe, all ups and downs, the good and bad, tries and tries, find eventually something what makes life useful to live. So I gave myself a new myself a deadline. 2025, I don't find something worthwhile, then it's not worthwhile doing. So I mean, I was 24 and maybe all of a sudden, I did nothing for it, I must say. I just came for me. It was not religious or very religious. I just, I must say, just overcome and change my
Meditation and
this was a divine touch. So, but not enough. It's still a divine touch. I mean, it still needs to become manifest. I mean, it is not enough. As I see now, that it was not enough to have, like, when it changed my life to complete spirituality, religiosity, devotion to Lord Shiva. But it is just not enough to establish the way. One needs the physical make it really manifested as the divine voice and from inside the seed of the soul comes only through direct.
Santosh Puri Ji was on the Tapu at that time.
Yeah, he was since already he had a darshan of Ganga. Afterward he told me that the Ganga was standing in front of him and asking what he wanted. So very sad that he literally doesn't want anything but to be in constant that she should always be in front of him. So some other wish that nobody would come to get him down, taking some of wish would be able to be. So, and after 1 year after this vision, he saw that I was coming and he saw me in this world. The same in the dream, very good, Ganga Mata. So the way make this relations together. He saw me, it was clear. And I also must say I had a vision when I was 13 that I would go to India and there's this image of a Baba with a long white beard. So and I told that my mother that I will go to India and will live there forever. But she said, well, nonsense, because you even don't know where India is. So and I also thought about it. When I came here, and one thinks to remember things like this. So it is here they say also, the other people say that it was just samskara from our lives that we met again. So that was so it was certainly also the last tradition.
So many challenges sound-wise today we're having now. We started now, some windscape are coming. Closer. Did you have any other disciples? Or you're the only one?
He said, I have many disciples, but what is a disciple who goes away? So actually he said, sometimes he said, everybody is my disciple. And sometimes he said, I have only one disciple, and it's Narvada. Because my sister also came, she also have become a disciple of Baba. But still, after some tests, she went away. Or looked for some other. So I mean, he said always the disciple is the one feed the disciples should not be this lifetime as it is in the book.
And your mom also came and settled at one point. I just saw.
Yeah, first my sister came to bring me back, and then she got also in the golden touch with the Ganga and the gurus and staying on the island and the whole meditation. So she was child, and my mother was still there, so Babaji told her, you cannot just leave everything and meditate by the Ganga. First you must fulfill your obligatory works. So I not go back, so I was released from these obligatory works, but she thought it as her to go back. And then she came back after 6 years and brought her husband, and the child came first time, my mother also, Hardwar Kumbh Mela. And Try said me, I found everything here, so if you like to stay, also try to believe in Babaji, in Guruji, and then we'll all go on living together. Otherwise, her husband decided not to live this life, so we left her. So she was free to take sannyas.
Oh.
And my mother, she was 76 already at the time. So she came to Hardwar in the Kumbh Mela, and then we made this place. And another 6 years, then she came back and stayed here and died here also. So wonderful, she got completely liberating as soon as Babaji gave her the mantra and the rudraksh and the mala. So she left and passed her life as Om Namah Shivaya. That was very beautiful, and on a very auspicious day, and was took Jal Samadhi, water Samadhi in the Ganga. So what more you can do for your mother?
So
and my sister is still alive. She made 2 ashrams in France. And she also now passing the rest of her life in meditation, spiritual.
It's quite unusual to have one's family join in like that.
Yeah,
It's not usual.
Yeah, but actually it is an old story that if somebody finds a jewel, then everybody comes and joins him. The golden touch, or if somebody finds some truth. So it was somehow that I had only my sister and my mother. There was no other relative, more or less. And then, yeah, that is quite beautiful also. So they supported, and from this, everything what we made, this ashram, was not my heritage, but it was given like a devotee's. It was given as a donation to Babaji. So we could make this place, which now serves as a nice shelter place or ashram place for yoga teaching, and whatever I have learned I can share.
And it seems to be fairly unusual for someone doing that amount of austerity to take a female disciple, no? It's not very common.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, one says also, I mean, surely if you ask any sadhu, he will say no female disciple. But if it comes from the will from above, then what to do? So I mean, this relation from life and lives, one just cannot. When I also didn't had no idea to marry or to take any decision like that. But you have to surrender to the divine will, and whatever is still in your karma, you cannot just run away. You cannot jump from down to the top of the mountain. You must also live out what was in former lives. So I mean, I still wonder if I would. But the thing is that one always thinks I can do something and I can decide this, but it is not like this. As long as you are in your ignorance, you think I can decide, he can decide to have a disciple or not have a disciple. That is all right for some time. For him also, for 50 years, he refused any female disciple or even talking not to any female devotee or the like. But if it is his will, then all these things fail. So it is easy to say, oh, one shouldn't have a female disciple and things like this. But if it comes over you, then there is no other. Then one has to understand this. And wise people understand that nothing what happens, or everything what happens, is the will of God, and certainly not your own will. So what is the criticism or questioning about it? Every does what he is supposed to do.
Also, and then taking that to the next step and then becoming married and having kids, that's also quite unusual, quite beautiful in one way, I would say.
Beautiful in one way, but it is also the step for purification. I mean, it is one of the steps to go really finally over any kind of work, what you are doing in the world, including a relation. Everything has to be purified and spiritualized. So it was the last, I would say, one never knows, but actually, I mean, it should have been the last relation in physical form without any attachment. So only then, if you detach yourself from anything, eating, drinking, any kind of physical activities, then only you can do this next step to spiritualize. Then it will drop. Otherwise, it won't drop. Just by suppression or disgust or something, it won't. Nothing will drop. You can stop things for some time, but they will come back. So really, detachment comes only if you completely live in spiritual life wherever you are. So, and it is nice now the three children have a beautiful life in the ashram, and one sees already for many people it is obvious that they have another foundation of life than other people who are born in worldly life. So everything makes sense, and now I mean I have never had any much attachment to my children. They were just before I was serving the cows. We had many cows. So the main attachment you were giving to your children or to other children. So this also you have to learn. And now also they will be there as long as the soul meets. And if not meets, then they belong to the system.
Quite beautiful, I would say. And tell us, like, just because I know the question comes up for many, how does one recognize, a realized saint, the Siddha? How does one separate that from just any sadhu?
Yeah, I would say the best criterion is ask your heart. I mean, being impressed is something, but if it touches your heart and you feel peace and a kind of inner opening and realization or enlightenment from inside, then it is this the criterion of the Guru. May it be, he may be literated or unliterated, beautiful or not beautiful, then all these works, they just don't work. So we only this completely touch from the heart that works in a situation like this. So you can, I met many sadhus, I mean, could have stayed anywhere. One could have studied Vedanta, one could have stayed in some ashram, one could have found many times. Also Guruji I met in many forms, in Benares, in Amarnath, always in the form of a Naga Baba with ash and with very strong austerity. And every time the same as he welcomed me, come and sit and don't go away. I met in Benares, he also said, sit and don't go away. But I couldn't. It was not the time, I couldn't understand this. So God takes always the form of many, and one time it corresponds completely so that you can stay. And it is done, it is the right way and the right level, because it works in levels. I mean, knowledge also, according to your level of consciousness, to your level of intelligence or purification also. So the Guru will take this form. And if you need, then you see now, if you reach higher levels of awareness, then the Guru will change with this, or the form of God will change according to your own perception. So everybody has his own Guru according to his capacity.
Do you feel, does this process ever end? Is there ever a final enlightenment in your opinion?
Yeah, there are certainly stages of enlightenment. I mean, once the border is reached between ignorance and what we call wisdom, or discrimination between the real and the unreal, it is there already there starts that you are a spiritual person, or call it, the first light is done. You believe in God, you believe in the reality of everything what is God. So what is else to be done? There can be stages then of higher yogic practice or sadhana or austerity or knowledge or wisdom. But the main basic part, illumination, has taken place if you decide for God, surrender to God, and shun all kind of illusion. So then there's this is a most important way, and then you can go on according to your capacity.
It's just something that I've been contemplating heavily the last 12 years. You know, we in the West, we read this word enlightenment, and it's written in books, and we kind of trace this back to the age of enlightenment in the 1800s. And but this word in the way that we have it in the West I haven't found that it exists in the Sanatana Dharma Shastra. It seems to have been altered a bit. So the universe seems to be quite a vast place. So I wonder if you know, how this process goes, if it ever really ends, if there's ever any final stage.
Yeah, one reason certainly is that as long as this enlightenment is not something what you can get or you can learn or something, it must happen, and it comes as a final state of purification, or call it the end of the suffering when the grace ascends. So it is taking it, you cannot take enlightenment as something from the intellect. This is just not possible. So you can only, like you say, you can only know about enlightenment if you are enlightened. You can only know about God if you become yourself divine, or you have seen God. Then you can know. Until you have not drunken nectar, how can you know about it? You must take the medicine, then you know what it works. So to talk about it is just, it is good, it's part of the purification. It is good doing all the yoga and wanting. Who says a desire for liberation is already will lead you to liberation. I also must say, whatever, I was not a very good person or something, like everybody. But I had a big desire for end of suffering, that I must say. So this desire, I think, was what brought me finally to the grace of God. And I mean, it will come. It will, if the people are getting more and suffering more from, then the more you suffer from ignorance, the more you want to get away from it. So then just make the next step and go away from it. And decide for the better path of life. Why don't you do it? If you suffer, then why you stay in this suffering? Give it up. But giving up is a little sacrifice. But what is a sacrifice? If there's so much positiveness in, then it is not a sacrifice. You can suffer in the new way, but it is not the question, because it's the truth. If you find the truth, then you can be anything. You can be a sweeper, you can die, you can be paralyzed, you can be anything. You can be poor or something. But this sparkle of light, of truth, that you won't leave. So it doesn't, nothing matters, it's just the truth. Therefore they say, as soon as you meet God or meet the truth, the saints become silent, because there's, wait until your time comes. Be patient and purify your life, and it will come. It has to come.
And how does one purify their life?
Yeah, well, there are dharmic rules. I mean, for example, to surrender to studying the scriptures, the holy scriptures, in whatever religion that might be, spiritual science, the religious scriptures, and then just we have to follow that, whatever is the instructions are, but not going after our own law, because there are laws, what we call Sanatana Dharma, laws of eternal truth, so that we have to follow. But until there is ego, and the people cannot surrender to this. It is just not. It is not yet in their awareness. I mean, we were living in the. There was a church, and you have nothing against it, but you also have nothing for it. It is just another world, and therefore. We first, I mean, it's a good way. We go over the yoga, we go so many things, but make it also. Take also the consequences, not only talking about it, but also a certain kind of renouncement. If you want to be spiritual, you must go away from certain sensual pleasures. Because this binds you, not about because of the sensual pleasures. No, the yogis have nothing that you shouldn't eat, but the attachment to it and the demand for it that will bind you to illusion. And then if you are bound by illusion, then how can you liberate yourself? So therefore we must start with right eating, right thinking, and the right way of living. I mean, become spiritual, live in the higher centers, and go away from the lower centers. Otherwise you will never make it. I mean, both is not possible. Sure, the tantric way is also only taking the lower centers to go to the higher centers, because they are so much engaged in the lower centers. There's no other way. Or sure, also you could only go to over the lower centers for higher consciousness. So that seemed to be the right way. Otherwise, in India, they don't talk about that. He's not yet a disciple. So he won't find a guru because he's not yet ready. He's not yet over. So you must become born into a Brahmin family to become a disciple. We become first the Brahmin, and then we take the higher initiation for sannyas. So this is very important. I mean, you cannot be even a Kshatriya full of desires and then go for liberation. The desires must go away through wisdom. So the Brahman is born with the wisdom of Brahman. The Brahman, the supreme absolute truth. So if you have this truth, this is living in me and in you. There's no desire, there's no violence. All these things are already overcome. And then the next step is very easy. So in India, this problem, they would not take disciples who are completely still in the world, bound in the world. So it is a little bit early, but it works like this. So it's all right. But we should also be more, I think the people from the West should be more serious about the decision where you want to go and what you have to leave. You see, there are so many, there are already quite a lot of disciples in the West. They have found their, if it's ISKCON or whatever it is, doesn't matter. It must be the faith in one path. If it is ISKCON, any kind of sect or whatever it is, but they have faith. And this faith is the foundation for a spiritual life. So, and there is a break. Some have this, they become a disciple. Your Amma, whatever it is. From this community with truth, community with the saints, then patience, and slowly you will go the right way. Why should you not? Even staying in the relation or
you don't feel that you don't feel that one needs to leave the West necessarily, or leave their obligations to their family to come and progress down this path of liberation.
I mean, that is also already how it happens. So I mean, if you start to live more in seclusion, then you certainly won't live necessarily in a steel factory or something else. I mean, you can, if you have already taken the teaching and you do it just like there are many paths of karma yoga, just working and taking the benefit of your earnings for some spiritual benefit. So this is possible, but then slowly you would ask why? Why should I stay at the station, or why should I work in a discotheque or in a bar? If I want to live a spiritual life. So slowly these things will go by themselves. So the more you decide for spirituality and for a pure living and purification of the senses, then to be vegetarian is necessary. Not only because to be vegetarian or something, because it's a big change for your mind. And you see also, I mean, so many reasons now to be vegetarian. And it will come by itself. It's just a part of your ignorance. I mean, you don't see the consequences. Part of tamas, that you do something without looking at the consequences. So we eat because we don't know what is behind. So just so it be much better to become more aware and more serious about it. Because what I thought the West is not serious about the consequences. They live worldly people live like this. They enjoy the things and don't think what about the future. So especially in spiritual lives, eventually you have still to suffer for what we call prarabdha karma, that are karmas that are already forgiven, but still they flicker after. And you have to, even if you go the spiritual path, you still have to suffer from anything just because of your karma, because not good or bad, it is like this, cause and reaction. And so we cannot go away from it, but we can go and stop karma just by realization. So not increasing more karma, that is one way, and then let the last karma will flicker out. So you are ready to suffer for that, but what you have done. Not there's something wrong, I mean, but it is like this. There's a little bit more seriousness and wonderful, I think. I mean, here I see only the cream of the West is coming. We are already seekers and doing very beautiful, innocent people and very nice and very positive and wonderful. I mean, if all the generation of the future is like this, we just have it. But also there's no guilt, no sin, nothing like this. It's just a beautiful, natural commitment for truth, for spirituality. It's a wonderful time. I mean, it's quite a spiritual time. Let it be the excesses or something and commercializing yoga or things like this. It doesn't matter. I mean, it turns out yoga was not only a fashion. Fashion doesn't last for 50, 100 years. We're going maybe it's now more than 50, 60 years that we are on the spiritual way after the wars and things like that. Certainly, there's a lot of done. There's a lot of awareness in food, way of living, and people learn. So.
Well, what are your thoughts on you know, I hate to use the term, but on Hatha Yoga and how it's taught in the West, and you know, where you think that leads? I mean, I'm sure you've encountered much with many different travelers and people coming here, and who have probably studied, you know, quote yoga in many different places. And how do you think about how it's being taught in the West compared to what's really offered here, the totality of
Yeah,
Santosh?
I don't know how it was taught in the West. I see only that it is the stage of their being. First you come to yoga because you like sports and you like gyms and you like bodybuilding, like fitness and all kind of things. And afterwards, but slowly you cannot do yoga without Om, for example, without the vibration of Om. And this mantra is, you cannot escape it. Can be even a bad yoga teacher has to pose the asana, the posture, and especially start and end the class with Om. I mean, you cannot just start with jumping around or doing exercises or something. So little kind of mantra will certainly be there, because otherwise what's the difference between sports and yoga? But and then slowly what I see, it is just a stage of the yoga teachers. If the yoga teacher becomes more spiritual and more enlightened, then the whole yoga will lift up. Always guru is like the disciple and the disciple is like the guru. So they will go to that guru who is very perfect or acrobatic or this, because it responds to you. You also want to be like this. So as soon as the guru becomes more spiritual, and also the disciple will grow and will become more spiritual, more enlightened. We like to preach in our ashram that the real yoga is something that's happening from inside. It's actually inactive. It's not only that. It's also whatever we are all doing. Even the asanas is an experience, a meeting with God while doing through the medium of asanas. And it's a beautiful medium because it fits to your body and to your mind. So it is very comfortable. So for many people, especially young people, they like to do physical exercises. So it's a beautiful chance to get them to yoga, just by just by through the asanas, teaching them to the experience of what really yoga is. Yoga is inverted. Yoga is an experience, a union with God. In which way you reach this, whether through mantra singing, whether through karma yoga, through bhakti yoga, through asana, through reading the scriptures, through social work, through just love and devotion to mankind. That is are the different parts of yoga. But the real yoga is a little misunderstanding only. Just think yoga is asana, but it's also not the definition of yoga. Yoga means the union with your individuality, with the Supreme. Through which way you reach it is up to you. So people are very physical, so it's a nice way to reach it over Hatha Yoga. But also Hatha Yoga is directly connected, leading to the union with God. So, and a wonderful, wonderful practice. We combine in our ashram the physical practice, or Hatha Yoga, and not excluding what is also, I think, very necessary, the scriptures, and Jnana Yoga, or Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, both sides. So you have the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, the Patanjali Sutras, Vedanta. So I think this is very necessary to make yoga more residential, more a retreat, more a living for 24 hours, not just going to the class for 1 hour and then you're thrown back into the street and into the metro or to the chai shops or whatever it is. So you will lose everything. First it is very, very fine. The little light needs much care, otherwise one wind it blows out. So you establish something through praxis, pranayama, and you go out and the next bus or the next tea or destroys it again. Take a cold drink, smoke, and therefore it is very necessary to create more retreat centers where the people can go away from unavoidable worldly life. They say, "Chalo, let's go and finish with the world and just sit in home, sit in the mantra, and let's meditate or sing something, listen to the scripture, just be a good person." And then you slowly get strength, and afterwards maybe you don't want to leave anymore. Or then make your home an ashram, and establish the same divinity, what is very nice. You can make your own home or ashram, just through the mantra, just through worship.
And do you find that just by the physical practice of asana that itself purifies the life to become more disciplined, or is it the reverse? Or is it both? That one maybe needs to discipline oneself first to go further into that path of asana, and then hopefully pranayama would be engaged with that as well. What is your opinion?
It depends on your likes also, but over the physical purification is a very nice path. Everybody likes to be physically well. So even if we are sick only, then it's mostly physically, physically or mentally sick. So if the purification is you feel heavy, you have gas in your stomach, and you have headache, and you become aggressive, and so it all starts from that. So I mean, you first must, if you feel good, feel light and comfortable, your mind feels light. So it's a good way, it's a good medium in between, because we like to be we are in the body and we cannot leave the body, we are attached to the body. So to the senses, so purify the body, purify the senses, purify your mind, and then the next step will come by itself.
And you don't feel that, one should fulfill their household like if one has kids, one shouldn't just try to run away to the mountains forever, yeah? Do you feel like it's important to fulfill their obligations first? Or it's just totally an individual situation?
Yeah, it is up to, if you can avoid it, together, I think it's very good.
You can avoid.
Avoid any kind of strong relations to the world, because marriage and children is so strong. For some time, I was living in the ashram. I was not stopping any kind of practice, taking the same rhythm of the ashram than before. So it was very preferable, but still it's a distraction. So, but it is, you only do what you have to do. And if there's still a little attachment to the world, then you have to cause and direction, and you have to do it. But it's
certainly,
better.
if one already has children,
Yeah.
then one should one shouldn't just maybe just leave them on the street. Yeah, one should fulfill their dharma.
We won't run away. This is obligatory works. You cannot run away from this. This is the biggest ignorance and sin also, what they would say. So many disciples or many devotees came to Babaji running away because it's very, so you have to work a lot, and also mostly farmers have to work so much in the field. So they say, why not stay in the ashram? You get your food, you get some clothes, and you have a nice time. Why should I do that for? So this is, according to the scriptures, we have to take the scriptures as a base. The Gita also says that we never run away from this. We must fulfill this. In India, you have certain rules, nothing forever. There's much time, more time is eternal. There's so much time. So,
It's kind of fine to want to something, but you should.
yeah. This is better. Babaji always said, suffer it all out in this way, in this time, in this life, and not delay it to the next life. So whatever you think you have to do, and what means I have to do, which is also the upper limit. There's the sanskaras from your followers, and do it. It's also part of the creation. So there's no question about wrong and right. But it depends on what stage you are, what was your former life. But you can drop these things. You can drop it themselves. They are born sannyasis. So they can very easily drop. There's never any attachment. It's done. It's dropped.
How important are the formalities of the sanskars, as opposed to just, it just being kind of a little end to what's already there naturally? Is the actual act of the formality of the ritual, how important is that?
Oh, yes. Yes and no. Formality is a kind of stamp. Sure, the pure spirit is there, but until the spirit doesn't manifest, what is a proof of the spirit? So, it's also your decision, really, to bow down to this law or to the formality. I like it, I must say. Many people also, I took the sannyas initiation after 30 years of taking sannyas. So, everybody says you're driving for 30 years. And now you come and want the license. How don't you think it is stupid? I said, yeah, it is stupid, sure, because you know how to drive, but still you need a license. So many things became very, very comfortable, through this license, because it is the last stamp for your own decision, for your own surrendering to the order. And I must say, I only can congratulate somebody who takes this decision. It is really from inside. I'm not taking the one should not play with this decision. You must really decide, and whatever from your side, it should be for a lifetime, and the rest of it.
It certainly seems that that within the Akada itself, that some things are changing, and some people take. I don't know. Yeah, certainly some people take sannyas, and then privately they're still doing things that maybe are not traditionally accepted in the sannyas path. What do you think?
That is also a lot of proud, and still, one cannot deny this everybody has the will to become a sannyasi, and then it goes back to the world, and it doesn't work as you thought like. So I mean, but a little bit also this, what I would say is a little bit overestimation, that you think you can live, you can take sannyas and live as you like. It is a little bit too easy. I mean, I also fall in this trap in the beginning. They told me you can do whatever you like, you just must have a pure heart. It's not necessary you can eat and drink and live as you like. You only must keep the connection with God. Surely true. But why? Why should I live a sensual life if I'm so decided to live a spiritual life? So I mean, or purify the senses, do a minimum, reduce, like obligatory works. You have one says one marriage, one relation is brahmachari, eating once a day, is fasting. So it's supporting the body, and you have to live according to the body. So it depends also, you must recognize your own stage, your own level. So if you are a Scorpio, you cannot deny your poison inside. So I mean, you have to live according to this, and still you can be a yogi by just accepting this. And then the next life will be a better life, with less complication.
I mean, certainly you wouldn't suggest for people to just, even, I mean, certainly one can get this cloth from many people here if they want, but would you suggest that people just come and take the samskar and then still go back to their life as it was and the rest of what they were? Would you think is that, in your opinion, a right way to go about doing things, or is that just a fantasy way of going about doing things?
It depends on how strong the guru gives them the sadhana. I mean, if they do go on doing something, but now they made a distinction now between full sannyas and karma sannyas. So karma sannyas, he will just live a spiritual life, will get up 4 o'clock in the morning, do the sadhana, do the mantras, do the japa, be against violence and all kinds of things. So they live while having their wife or the girlfriend even, but staying to this relation, but in a secondary way. You are just telling what you should have against your parents. But there's only nothing wrong if you are saying this. Compassionate with everybody, sees everything as his own mother. So why not your own mother? There's only a certain kind of attachment which leads you then to binds you to the house and gives you the wings to freedom, because and it's said actually a sannyasi should have, if you also physically get rid of any kind of mother, father, wife, everybody died, and only God. Then everything becomes. So if you have no relation anymore, then it is very comfortable and very easy. Until it is there, so you make a nice combination. There are many Western sannyasis who live here. They still have a mother of 86 or 94. So they go back to their country, and once a time, now practical for the visa complication. So you go back for 1-2 months, serve your mother, and then you come back. And one time it will drop by itself. So if you can serve so many people, then why not?
And how does one learn to meditate?
There's certainly what we call barag, renouncing the world, and you can go inside the exterior world. You have a desire for get rid of the senses, and you close your eyes. You don't enjoy what you are seeing. You don't see that it brings you any further. It leads to the bigger confusion by living in the senses, with the senses. You can close them and go inside. So it's a very good practice. Watch your breath and spend more time by going inside. It must be a balance. If you are 24 hours in the senses, then you are a sensual person. You are a worldly person. And if you spend even 8 hours, or 6 hours, or even 1 hour, or 2 hours, you will say it's quite a spiritual person. So the benefit of being spiritual does not need 24 hours spiritual. 1 hour has so much power that it works for 4 hours more. Good meditation, and for 4 hours the world can do nothing for you. And slowly if you go, therefore we say one meditation in the morning, one meditation in the evening, and over the daytime you manage somehow, maybe over lunch, you take another breath if you want. And like Islam also have four prayers that you constantly remember. In all world, this true nature. It depends. I mean, here is your wonderful. You can always be in the breath, in the chakras, in the spirituality, in the mantra, while doing all the work. That looks beautiful, and all the sadhus say we are enlightened and we are living. We are not affected by any mobile or sitting on a motorcycle or playing cards or something, because we are always in the spirit. And this is true. I mean, the one who is enlightened, he doesn't have to stand on the head or do a mantra. Karma is for the one who wants to lead to the path of yoga. But if you have reached yoga, then it is serenity. You can dance, you can jump, you can do whatever you like. Everything. You have a family, you do teachings, you go to the field, you make the garden, you drive, whatever you like, but you still is a siddha. But for the one who is not a siddha, not an enlightened person, he must stick to the rules. For him, it just doesn't work that you drink and eat and play cards and live all the time in the bazaar or in a club or something. Then for him, it will not be good. But if you see our sadhus, I mean, I still think I would not prefer it, because I think I like more to live in sadhana, in austerity, because I like it. But it doesn't mean the gods, there can be a architecture god. He likes to build. What's wrong with it? Like in the world, you have beautiful doctors, you have beautiful ministers, there are devtas, there are the gods. And doing a good work for enjoying it and not losing, never have peace of the mind. So it's all about the peace of your mind. If you can keep the peace and liberation of your mind, what else you want? You see our sadhus, they're very comfortable. I mean, the basic thing is done. They're liberated. They have no suffering. And if a worldly person would live like this, I don't know how long it will go. But the mind will come, I should do something more, and some problems are coming, do I right, or should I not go to the Himalaya? They have not this problem to stay in the cave, to stay in the world. This is a part of liberation. Liberation is when no attachment to the cave and no detachment from the world, and no dislike for the world or no too much like for the cave or for the Himalayas or living alone or something. Because it has always become one. One God, one creation.
It seems, many claim that the world seems more out of balance these days than ever. What are your feelings on that, and do you have any advice for those in the West to help reverse that? If you even feel that way.
I see it from here, from a beautiful spot of paradise. So I can imagine how it is, but I also see that the divine awareness and consciousness must work everywhere. No? You see, I also see many people who go and live a spiritual life, maybe having a yoga center, or maybe most people are yoga teachers. It's already quite a nice work to live in the world, so they live with the mantras, and here they learn more to live with the scripture. So I don't think that they are so imbalanced. It is just, what is imbalance? Imbalance is leading to balance. We came from so much violence, from the wars, so we came to God. So everything has its point and is necessary, to learn from it. You could learn so much from the financial crisis, but you don't, because most of the people didn't. They got a wonderful chance to get away from unnecessary luxuries, and you see how much stuff you have. Now you have lost it, now you hang to it. Those are not necessary to have so big houses and cars and food stuff and schools and all this. Is what live a simple life and save yourself first. And it was wonderful. They could lost everything, so they could. Maybe there was still enough, certainly enough to set up a little place in the countryside and live modest on some things. It was certainly enough still. By losing everything, the bank account, there was always still enough to set up a life without too many desires. But simple, live on what is left, and start to save yourself. But they don't, and the desires are still too strong. You want to set up, you suffer from what you have lost, and you want to set up and wait as the politician he has to do, give this all back, and you will be the president. Huh? But why not go away from this and to teach the people how less you need? Huh? You need nothing. Huh? You need nothing than some love from inside and some spirituality and some prayer. And you see how comfortable life would become without all these things. Now they are so involved in being the best, becoming better and higher. But actually, for what it is all? It destroys the peace of your mind, and it will be destroyed anyhow. I mean, one day there's always, even all your proud so much about your computers, but one day everything will be deleted, and all what you store will be just in 1 second. I don't know what they will think then. They just store and store and store, never think that it could go. But one day the quality will just go, like the picture. You make a picture, but after some decades or some centuries, it will fade.
What about, do you feel that, some think that the Earth is kind of reacting? There's many more heavy physical disasters these days. Do you think that that's just the normal way of life, or do you think that that's because of more people living out of balance?
It seems we are more dominating over nature, more taking the resources of nature. So I went to the mountain. I mean, the whole mountain is in a mess, because I never saw this. So many tunnels and dams and all kinds of things. So the mountain really doesn't know what to do. So I mean, we are. But this is natural. Your technology goes so high, so you destroy nature. It's also part of it. I mean, we are learning from it, and eventually we are now already going green, going back to nature and becoming more natural and starting also to stopping many things. So it's a progress. There's never something, completion. Even climate of culture can also not stay. So everything has to go in a circle. So we will learn about it, and from this everything, the divine itself destructs itself also. We are destroying ourselves. So the only way to wake up, maybe. So it's also natural. I mean, first try the best for yourself. What do you think? And then maybe it is already. Too many people going back to more natural lifestyle. Actually, wonderful time, and it was the only chance. But nature takes long time, because to disarm this all and build up, build down is easy to build up, but to pull it down is also not so easy. So but it will everything come natural. You see here nothing changes. You see the Junakara, there's no change. You see the sadhus, it's all right. They have a mobile in the hand, or they might have more cars standing there. But actually you see them by the fire. They have the ash. They sit without clothes. Or even the most riches have one cloth down and one cloth up. So what actually has changed? You see here nature, what has changed? Krishna walked along here or Arjun walked along here. So what actually has changed? Nothing. The sun goes up and the sun goes down, and your own soul doesn't change actually. So the outer world. So going more, letting the old, and stop the mind, stop the world. So I mean, this is one beautiful chance. If you have no answer anymore for the world, and this is maybe the meaning of this illusion all about. Go inside and see that it is an illusion. It is built up and created by your mind, created, invented by your intelligence or by your pride or ego. So, but it dissolves also as soon as you close it. And then, if you like, create another universe. So, the way certainly goes to an excess, to the outside, for only one reason. You can't find it in the outside, you find it inside. And everybody also, if you have enough, you just close your door and you don't want to see anybody, you don't want to talk to anybody, and you have enough, you don't want to read anything, you just want peace and the end of everything. So this is part of meditation, renouncement of everything, pratyahara, destroying the senses from the outer world. Sit inside. There's so much peace, there's so much, and then you see that nothing changed. Very hopeful, and soon as you find the right source of knowledge and wisdom inside you, then everything becomes clear. This ignorance completely disappears, fear disappears, the worries disappear, no attachment, death has no power. So it is just because of this wisdom, this knowledge of the only one truth inside. So if you don't want the world, then leave it. Or you stay in the world. I mean, stay in the world, but you don't have, there's enough people who work for illusion and all kind of things. Find a nice way to live spiritual and with the least dependency on the outer world. The more desires you have, the more dependent you are on the world. If you have no desire, nobody will ask you, nobody will stay. There will be no thief. If you have nothing, the thief disappears. Something like this. I mean, just a nice way. So for I think the ashram is a very good thing. Also for the West, there should be more centers where people could directly experience that you don't need all what you think. Go away. There's still so much countryside. It's not that every tree is disaster. There's no. You see also here, overpopulated India. But look, there's no person in the world. No, the other side of the river. Nobody for miles. So, whole mountain is empty. Sure, there are many people in one way, then the problem comes. But if the people would live more on themselves, have less desires, this would be much necessary. So, if you have less desires, and you don't have also you don't need so many children. We have overpopulation anyhow. So there's enough people who can look after. Still having the desire to work for standard and things like this. There's enough people. You don't need much more. So I mean, it's up to you, but also knowledge, wisdom, that not fulfilling the desires leads to peace, but giving up the desire. So I mean, it's the old teachings. Go back to the scriptures and live in peace. I mean, make it sure. Everybody cries about peace, but what do you do for it? Just to go the path of yoga, the path of the scripture, the path of being a nice person, gentle and so on. Whatever there is, if you have two children, all right. But stop or not increase with more desires and more intentions.
How do you define tantra? How do you define tantra?
Tantra? So tan means body and tra means liberation. So liberation over the body. So the whole yoga is coming from the tantras, before the Vedas even. So have only this world to live in. So we have the body. We cannot escape the body at once, because we are more physical bodies, and only through knowledge we become spiritual bodies. But actually we are born into the animal body. So to purify this, we have the path of Tantra. I mean, we are practicing yoga, what belongs to the Tantra. But I don't go much deeper to look on special tantric practices or something like this. But I understand many things that is only leading to liberation, another path for liberation. And the people are, for desirous people to lead them to liberation, you must work over the desire. That was also so if somebody, even the gurus, when there was a king coming and asking, I can leave everything but not my jewelry or my horses or my queen or something, so you have to take this as your path to liberation. And meditate on your jewel. And afterwards you'll be dissolved in the jewel, and the jewel of your soul is the same. If you have a wife, then transform it into the Divine Mother, into Kundalini Shakti. So liberate as you like. It will always go in a circle. If you like to be liberated, you will go the way upwards to liberation. And if you don't want, you will become ants, scorpions, trees. You will live in the lower nature, as you like. It will always be like this. There will be lower nature and higher nature. The lower nature finally strives for the higher nature. So there's nothing wrong. The nature is nice, and the spirit is nice, and the combination of both makes the universe. So not discarding the one, you lead liberation. But being only spiritual, that also not make much sense. There would be no world. So it is all in a beautiful teaching together. Wherever you are, whatever happens is a way of learning. And learn from it how to, but the learning is certainly how to become liberated, means how to get to your peace of life, or how to have a beautiful life, a fulfillment life that you love to live in the same way for 100 years. Or you will just be happy, this is the way I can live now. And this is a big achievement. Everybody lives in this way. But still, nobody, all the people will never be enlightened. Will always be already the people where darkness is necessary to appreciate the light. So there will always be violence, that the people can be against violence. And you also have to be sinful, you are suffering yourself to desire non-suffering. So it will always be like this. Except there is not so much time and not so necessary to think too much about the world, about God. And the rest will come by itself. The creation is just a byproduct, the creation of your mind. So it changes with your mind. It's also very important to know that you are the creator of your own mind. You are not a victim of the world, but you can also create. Be peaceful, be full of love, and hate just doesn't exist.
I know we were talking a little earlier about about the sadhu's use of bhang and other types of intoxicants, and I know many in the West don't really understand this, and I know it's you're not a user of these things, but I know you've seen it around you your whole life, so maybe you can give some perspective on why one might see, I don't know what percentage of sadhus using this type of thing and what benefit it is for them or not benefit for them, and why it seems to be a part of the path of many of these seekers in India.
For the sadhu, certainly whatever he is doing is part of his sadhana. So sadhu, in the hands of the sadhus, all kind of intoxications or anything becomes purified. But the world forgets, because the world put their attachments or their limitations of anything, a relation or a intoxication or a drug or possessions or anything, because they put their limitations and think the sadhu has also these limitations, but it is not like this. The sadhu is a saint because he is always spiritual in whatever he is doing. So if a saint or a sadhu takes to anything, it will never disconnect him with the truth. It will always lead him to meditation, to intensification of meditation, whatever he is doing. And the world thinks he is just intoxicated himself and leading to higher desires, or I don't know, because they have these desires. So they put their own limitations on the image of the sadhu. But the sadhu, for the sadhu, this is a very beautiful and very high state of renouncement, to live only on the grass what is just growing in the jungle. So, and they don't go and have a glass of milk, don't go and go into some air conditioning or something. So they stay where they are and renounce even food, but will never renounce the good bhang, because that makes them indifferent to everything. They want nothing else to get rid of the world, get rid of the desires in their body, get rid of hunger and thirst, and only meditate on God. And so every sort of thing is very nice. They can stay in the jungle and don't have to go outside, because they are becoming completely have no other desire than to meditate. So it is only very beautiful support of samadhi. If it really in reality works like this is another thing. But I mean that still depends on the quality of the sadhu. But like also my Guruji, he was taking this as his own sadhana. He would not like to take even one breath in the lower nature. He would only like to live and to breathe and to talk, to do whatever he liked on a higher level of consciousness. So for him it was just his life. For me it was not. But I have much respect. I must say I see a high amount of renouncement in it, really renouncing everything from the world to just to take only this little herb and to sit in meditation. Whatever you are doing, I mean, it's a big renouncement. But the world certainly doesn't understand, because they are not on this high level of meditation.
And can you say a little, we were talking, you mentioned about levels of enlightenment and levels of sadhus, you know, in your extremely long time of living here in India, I'm sure many have come through the ashram. What have you met any, miraculously old sadhus, or what types of things have you seen that were, let's say, really out of the ordinary?
There also must say, I mean, I'm not. One says also the yogi you see is not a yogi, and the yogi you don't see is the yogi. So I mean, we live in. It is still. I mean, it is. One must separate this. The spiritual level. If he comes to the world, he has certain limitations. If he comes to the ashram, if he comes to the Kumbh Mela, we cannot expect that he is a big siddha, or completely living in high yogic cities or something, because he manifests down on the world. So he moves around, he has to take a rickshaw to move. So that makes him also quite limited. So I mean, it's part of being on the world that he limits himself. So, I mean, I'm not, I had completeness in the darshan of my own Guruji, so sometimes I go, I have some great saints in our Akhara outside. But it is, I mean, not necessary. We want to see a yogi, then become a yogi yourself. I mean, because this experience, how can you say he's a yogi? If you see many enlightened people, you make your vision that they are really liberated because of love and compassion, complete knowledge, right. This is a certain high state of enlightenment.
So,
it's a darshan. Also, yoga is a darshan. Like the whole philosophy is a darshan. We call darshan. The philosophy is called darshan in India. That means the inner vision. Also a saint.
हम आपके बगल वाले हैं, हम कई बार आपसे दर्शन करने के लिए चाह रहे थे, लेकिन हमको एक आदमी बताए जा रहे थे तो हम इस पहचाने कि वही माता जी है, लेकिन हम जा नहीं पाते हैं आपको। हम आपके जो बगल में जो यज्ञ चल रहा है ना, उसी आश्रम को हम सेवक, बड़ी आपकी कृपा की आज आपका। हम वहाँ पर आकर बैठे थे, बुला रहे थे, तब सबसे अनुभव हुआ कि ठीक है आप बात कीजिए, आप कोई बात में डिस्टर्ब होंगे।
did you ask me to come visit?
No, they're from the ashram besides, so they also many times thought, who is that, who is living there? So they're coming from Bihar, most of the people. So he was happy to say that certainly the Mataji came from ashram. They know mostly that the foreign Mataji living, so they were happy to.
So really, there was nothing really. Obviously, for you, your guru was everything, and just because I know it's always these kind of stories always interest people in the West, and it's a rare chance to get to ask someone who's lived here in the extraordinary world for so long about extraordinary things like that. I mean,
Yeah, that is also part of the of worldliness, the desire that a saint must be extraordinary, what is certainly true in one way, but the whole world is not extraordinary. So the form of God also will appear in a form that is not so extraordinary. It depends also on the people. Become yourself very, very sensible, then you will go into higher levels of consciousness and you will meet higher yogis. But if you are yourself sensual and on lower levels, how you can meet a yogi? How is it possible? A yogi is not somebody who comes and makes a miracle. Sure, maybe you will see it as a miracle, but then you can also go to the circus. What is the difference? I mean, you must become purified, then you will see God. But God doesn't show you. It's the realization to see God. No? God is, you can see, you can be able to see God really. No? So, or in him, or the Ganga, or whatever, so it's up to you. If you don't see it, it's not the fault of God. No? God is always there, but you don't see it. So, what is missing? We cannot see the Ganga like the saints are seeing it, the other people are seeing it. The child, or nature, or everything. It's just complete broadness of your own level of enlightenment, development process. It is normal that people want to see CDs and want to see all this and things. And also Jesus was making so many miracles because otherwise the people don't believe. And certainly it's a part of it, it's a byproduct of it. This is a certain kind of ability and it shows up at the same time. It's a very, very bright mind which it will be obvious and visible for everybody. But still everybody won't see it. And only up to yourself also. It is normal, it is worldly, the people want to see, they come here, show me a yogi. But why should you? But the yogi is the yogi. Can you see it? So, they want to see the standard yogi. But even whatever you show him, he would criticize it. Show him a yogi, even you show with the head in the ground, and say, oh, this is the technique. But it is not satisfying. They will always find fault. So, because it's just not the approach to meet with yogis. So become a yogi and you will see only, you will look only with yogis. You will live in that circle. What are yourself? If you are a businessman, you will live with business people. And if you are a yogi, you will live only with yogis. So you see only yogis. And a business person sees only business. Wherever he goes, he sees only exploitation, real or builder, you see, over here we could make a first class building. 5 star hotel. So just change yourself and slowly, slowly, it's a good way. There is more awareness and more patience, Santosh. Certainly the biggest message. It will
The biggest message is what?
Santosh,
Santosh.
contentment.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, maybe, you know.
That's a good place now. Maharaj, thank you. Just please give your blessings for myself, for my family, and anyone that will see this video. Please give us your blessings.
Yeah, sure, there's certainly whatever we are doing is already just for the welfare of everybody. And it would be nothing more beautiful that everybody goes the path of the light. And it is wonderful that all who are connected with you are already. You. Oh,